boys tell them. Defense. Put me in, coach. Yeah, we all hard hitters. Smell fresh meat. Yeah, we all eating. Put me in, coach. Yeah, we all hard hitters. Smell fresh meat. Yeah, we all eating. Put me in, coach. Yeah, we all hard hitters. Yeah, I smell fresh meat. Yeah, we all eating. Clock in, D. Yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. Yeah, it's time to go to work. See, clock in, D. Yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. Yeah, it's time to go to work. Gone clock in, clock in, clock in, gone clock in, clock in, clock in, gone clock in, clock in, clock in, D. Yeah, it's time to go to work. See the star on the field, you gon' meet D-Law. Thinking you an outlaw, we sending the predator. Jalen Smith scoop up the whole field, so how you gon' play here, bruh? If you release your dogs, we got a wolf hunter. LVE, tackling Dutchman coming. If you hungry and trying to eat like Zeke, we'll send in a taco to sweep you off your feet. Now you deep in the woods, plus we got a couple Collins. They say time and pressure make diamonds, the hot boy shining. Clock in, D, yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work, yeah, it's time to go to work. See, clock in, D, yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work, yeah, it's time to go to work. Gone clock in, clock in, clock in, gone clock in, clock in, clock in, gone clock in, clock in, clock in, clock in, D, yeah, it's time to go to work. Top 10. When the hot boys hit the field, this is what we tell them. Listen what we tell them. This is what we tell them. Go to work. Clock in, D. Yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. Yeah, it's time to go to work. See, clock in, D. Yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. Yeah, it's time to go to work. Gone clock in. They say, defense wins championships. We're here in Dallas. We got a top 10. When the hot boys hit the field, this is what we tell them. Listen what we tell them. This is what we tell them. Go to work. Clock in, D. Yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. Yeah, it's time to go to work. See, clock in, D. Yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. Yeah, it's time to go to work. Gone clock in, clock in, gone clock in, clock in, gone clock in, clock in, yeah, it's time to go to work. See my defense, they on the field right now. Yeah, my defense, they yelling 3 and now. Yeah, my defense, they don't like your quarterback. So my defense, all trying to get them sacks. With the ball in the air, secondary go to work. Byron Jones, he be there, he be lying, he be lurking. If you get past him, Jeff Heath gon' hurt him. Put the ball down, go ahead and run it. I got a hot front four when they coming. Plus we got the best linebacker duo in the whole NFL. We the hot boys sizzling on fire, come to give your team hell. Clock in, D, yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. Yeah, it's time to go to work. See, clock in, D, yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. Yeah, it's time to go to work. Go defense, go defense. Defense, gone, defense, clock in, D, yeah, it's time to go to work. I know I said at the beginning of this track, that we had like a top 10, or like a top 5. Hot boys gearing up to be triple D, you know what I'm saying? Clock Dallas Doomsday defense. Listen what the hot boys tell them. Defense, put me in, coach. Yeah, we all hard hitters. Smell fresh meat, yeah, we all eating. Put me in, coach. Yeah, we all hard hitters. Smell fresh meat, yeah, we all eating. Put me in, coach. Yeah, we all hard hitters. Yeah, I smell fresh meat, yeah, we all eating. Clock in, D, yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. Yeah, it's time to go to work. See, clock in, D, yeah, it's time to go to work. yeah, it's time to go to work. You see the star on the field, you gon' meet D-Law. Thinking you an outlaw, we sending the predator. Jalen Smith scoop up the whole field, so how you gon' play here, bruh? If you release your dogs, we got a wolf hunter. LVE, tackling Dutchman coming. If you hungry and trying to eat like Zeke, we'll send in a taco to sweep you off your feet. Now you deep in the woods, plus we got a couple Collins. They say time and pressure make diamonds, the hot boy shining. Clock and D, yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work, yeah, it's time to go to work. See, clock and D, yeah, it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work, yeah, it's time to go to work. Gone clock in.
Thanks for watching West Coast. Go Cowboys.
This is Ray Williams. Thank you so much for hanging out with us at Dallas Cowboy Scout.
Appreciate
My
you.
man West Coast from this buck.
Thank you for watching West Coast.
Shout out West Coast Cowboys. You know it's always love over here. Raider, Cowboy, always a Cowboy.
Did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
What's up with you guys? It is your boy West Coast, man, and we are live in the building, man. We appreciate you guys for watching our beautiful intro video. It always gets me all turned up and ready to go, man. That clock in defense, time to go to work. Shout out to my boy Starboy on that great song. Been rocking with him for a minute, man. But yo, it is your Cowboy cousin, man. We trying to get live on Instagram right now. We should be up. I'm on Instagram, and we up on Instagram. There we go. It is your Cowboy cousin, West Coast, man. How you doing? Rocking the True Blue crew today. Shoot. And if I'm on the line, you already know I'm going to have one of my Cowboy cousins on here, man. So I got the boss Cowboy on the line with you, man. What's up with you, man? Can you hear me, boss?
Say that again, bro.
I said if I'm on the line, you know I got to have one of my Cowboy cousins on the line, man. What's up with you, boss?
Oh, man. Doing good, man. Ready to rock. Let's talk. Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk Cowboys.
Yes. So the first thing we're going to go through today is going to be the injury report. Hey, say something real quick, boss.
Yo.
I fixed it, bro. Oh, look at Jesus. I look at Jesus. I look at Jesus. Hey, I was sitting up here. I could barely hear Boss Cowboy. And then what do we always say, boss, about problems in football? That some of the best ways to fix a problem is to do the what?
I mean, the best way to fix a problem.
Well, not to fix a problem. Sometimes the best way to do something is to do the obvious.
The most common, yeah, the most obvious or the most common sense.
So guess what I did? What made common sense was to turn this little thing that said "turn it up," and I turned it up, and boss is now louder. But hey, man, let's go, man. Let's jump into this injury report real quick. All right, so. Boss, I'm already up on. I'm up on
Instagram.
IG. Yeah, I'm up on IG. So if you wanna,
I just sent you the request.
Oh, you sent it to me. Let me see.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go. Wait. There you go.
Yeah. Boom to the bang. We should be good.
All right, we coming up on IG. What's up with you guys? All right, and shout out to Cowboys Packages too, man, because I have my boy over at Cowboys Packages. David, he like a whiz kid, man. And he told me like, hey, West Coast, you should do this, and I was like, what? And I did it, and now we up on Instagram too.
Yeah.
Look at God. All right, so let's go through this. Hey, did y'all share? Did you share? Did anybody share? There's 35 people on here. We should be at least 35 shares. What's up with your Instagram? Hey, for you on Instagram, I figured I YouTube this. On Instagram, you can share the show with another Cowboy fan. So on Instagram, I need you to think about that one Cowboy fan that you're always talking Cowboy with and share this show with them. All right, that's all we got to do. And everybody get it taken care of. Let's get this thing popping. All right, so the injury report, you guys already know how the injury report works. We're going to tell you the name. We'll tell you what's going on with him, if he's injured or if he's full, blah, blah, blah. And we'll let you know real quickly on how it will affect the team or if we feel it's going to affect the team in any way. All right, we got Big John. I see you. West Coast, you got an echo. Yeah, I know. Let me see. They said I got an echo on IG. We still new to IG, so.
Yeah, I got an earpiece, so I know it ain't coming from me. So, cause my IG coming through my earpiece, so it's no echo from me at all.
Oh yeah, it's never the boss. It's always the one-handed cowboy that's trying to run the full computers. You hear me? Come on, man. Y'all get on Jason Garrett back, man. He got so much. Maybe that's why I empathize with Jason Garrett so much. I don't know. He just got so much going on, and he really feel like he probably got one arm behind his back. I don't know. But let's get into these injury reports. Hey man, if I got an echo on IG, I'm gonna try to work on it. If I can't fit it fixed, slap on over to Instagram and slide over to YouTube. Oh my God, I did not forget about you, YouTube. You like my anniversary. It just so happened to come on the date. But we about to get up. Let me see. Forgot to get up on YouTube. Bam. Now we up on YouTube. Well, we were already up on YouTube, but I need to be able to see them so that I can see your comments.
Yeah, show them some love.
You gotta show them. You gotta show them some love, man. Here come YouTube. All right, bam. All right, so let's go through this injury. Let's go through this injury report. Maybe if I scoot back, I'll have less of an echo. All right. All right. So first thing, Tavon Austin. He's still on the injury report because he was on there last week. They'll typically have a guy's name on there for at least 2 weeks, and he'll go through a progression of like DNP means do not practice to limited means he was limited at practice, and then full, which is basically their way of saying that they're going out. You know what I'm saying? That they're basically gonna have no restraints in their practice, and they can do whatever they got to do. Their regular practice. So after a person has like a full on their name, they typically will probably only practice. They will probably won't even show up on your injury report simply because what? Because they're starting to get full practices. So Tavon Austin, I expect for him to come off. Randall Cobb, he was a full practice. Now Lael Collins did not practice. That's your tackle. Just got paid. Obviously the money has nothing to do with him playing. Wink, wink. But yeah, he's not out. He's a do not play now. We know with Jason Garrett, he has kind of like his rule where he likes guys to play at least, practice at least 3 days before a game. Now, that would typically be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday is usually your travel day because you got to still travel to wherever you're going. So those are your 3 days of practice this week. So what are your thoughts on Lael not playing? I mean, because that has to be a realistic expectation. Lael Collins not playing this Sunday, and possibly seeing another game of Brandon Knight. Well, a full game because he didn't play a full game last week. He played half of a game, but in a half a game he looked cool. But what are your thoughts on that, boss?
No, I think if they can play, they need to play. I'm sorry. Treat this game with urgency. I know they're weak in terms of their record, but if they can play, they need to play. I don't care if they didn't practice, because a lot of times with the tackle positions, even Tyron Smith, it was times that he never practiced and he was up to the game day moment. So I think the tackle positions is where Jason Garrett kind of makes an exception to his rule, especially around 2 years ago when Tyron was hardly ever getting through practice with his bad back. And then another thing, I was keeping up with Broadus because, Broadus is on the inside and, he's at the practices and stuff like that way more than we are. And he was saying that they're actually looking at Fleming playing right tackle this game, potentially. So, and that's something I would want to see as well. But I would want Smith to play. Tyron, I want him to play. We don't want Dak under duress. He hasn't got his money yet. He plays way better when he's protected. He'll light you up when he's protected. And sometimes you need those guys to go. Now, if we get ahead, then obviously have your contingency guys ready to step in like Knight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want them boys to roll out there, man, even if they're not 100%.
Yeah, and then you have a huge game coming up the very next week, division game with the Philadelphia Eagles, a game that I will be at. You guys already know Saturday I'll be at the Omni Mandalay Bay with my boy Jalen Smith. Man, y'all saw the interview that we did with him this week. When I asked him about the swipe and where the origin of that. So make sure you guys come out in 2 weeks. Remember, 2 weeks. That's October 19th. We'll be out there. But man, I'm in agreement with you, man. I'm in agreement with you. Like, I love the fact that you do have backups, but at the same time, like, Lael was just getting in a groove. But I don't want to be out here trying to say that I want him to play injured, because I do not want him to play injured. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, man, I think you need to at some point, if you're able to play, you got to start kind of like pushing through some of this stuff because we're not getting an opportunity to gel, with that offensive line. Why? Because there's so much movement on it right now. And I'm going to be honest with you, Kellen Moore's game plan with his starting tackles is totally different than the game plan he has to create with 2 backup tackles. Now, if that's how the cookie crumbles and we got to do it, then we got to do it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I wouldn't mind seeing Fleming over there, and then maybe they put Brandon Knight at the opposite side. But I really want Tyron Smith, he didn't play last week, and you saw the effects of it. Cam Fleming, I would like to see. At the same time, though, I wouldn't mind him being right where he was last Sunday too, because man, I just don't think that Cam Fleming is gonna have 2 back-to-back games like that because he's just not that type of player, man. So and everybody was killing us. Everybody been, and I ain't gonna lie, if on you for all y'all folks that's been in my inbox, I'm West Coast. I thought you said Cam Fleming. And when shout out to YL, the official MC of the Cowboy Nation, that he hung his hat on that. Fleming gonna get killed. He gonna get killed.
Yeah, I've been people kind of going way too far. Somebody called him. I'm not saying YL did. I saw somebody say that he was Chaz Green. No,
slap yourself. He didn't give up. Come on.
No,
how many times did that get
Chaz Green gave up 6 sacks to a backup defensive end,
Claiborne, who has not done nothing since.
That's way different than who Fleming was going against. Okay.
Yeah.
Like right now, the Smith brothers is basically leaders at the top on sacks and pressures. Matter of fact, the Green Bay Packers was #1 pressure team in the league.
Yeah.
So it's almost just like how we respect Aaron Rodgers as a different, capable quarterback. You almost got to understand that's what Fleming was kind of going against. If you want to kind of make that analogy. In terms of his pass rush and the matchup he was up against, that was a serious matchup.
Yeah, it was.
And he gave up 2 sacks.
And you had Clark in the middle. My boy Clark from right up here from Summit High School, freaking 6 minutes down the street from the house. First round pick, number 97, in there playing D tackle, and he had himself a pretty damn good game too.
Yeah, so
Kenny
it's
Clark
one of
out of
those.
UCLA.
I agree with you. I know we could hold if they played. It's just like what happened with the right tackle for Green Bay, right? He went out against Philly. You reported on that. We figured that was going to be a matchup problem between him and Tank. But he played, right? Because of the weight of the game. We really got to kind of get our mojo back. We got to get our mojo back. It's one of those games where we want to kind of come in and have a good showing. Even though we on paper way better, we want to show it, and we want to kind of pick up the pieces and start showing that, we playing Cowboy football, and that Green Bay game, I'm not going to call it a fluke, but we moved on it, and we ready to kind of hit that next gear.
Okay.
Because I know some more people, I know it's a lot of people, especially on the defense, should be kind of, I'm going to just say it straight up, embarrassed. That was one of LVE's worst games.
Yep. But shoot, let me move through this. Let me move through this injury report. All right, so Leo Collins did not practice. Amari Cooper also today did not. He did practice, but he was limited. So limited is basically like the third. Is like the second. You're basically like DNP is like the worst. Limited is like the middle. And full is basically you out there doing everything that you regularly can do with all the other wide receivers and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And what's up with you hats on, Will? I see your inbox. I appreciate that, man. Hit me in my DM and I'll send you different information. I appreciate you for that. But yeah, Amari Cooper has been listed as limited. I was standing right behind their bench at this last previous game, and I put a video out. I shot a video of Amari Cooper like literally on the ground, like grimacing. Like just looking ridiculous, man. Like looking like he was about to die. You know what I'm saying? And literally 2 plays. Wait, no, it wasn't 2 plays. It was about 3 minutes later. He just does this ridiculous play down the middle of the field and just spins off another guy and just makes them all look dumb. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow. Like he just literally went from that to that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, that's 88 type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like Amari Cooper got that 88 type of stuff. Like, and as much as I hate the drops, man, like it almost seems like when he do those things, that dude has a really good way of making it up, making you forget all about it. You know what I'm saying? Like if he would have just dropped it and it would have just hit the ground, we wouldn't even be talking about the drop. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why you talking about the drop is because it bounced up. So Amari Cooper, if you're gonna drop a ball, I need you to drop it going downwards. Like drop it and just pat it to the ground. Don't drop it upwards so that the DB has an opportunity to get the ball, man. Okay, I see you. I got you, boss. I got you. Let me do. All right, we should be back on Instagram. I disconnected it because it was echoing real bad. All right, so we should be back up on it real quick. But yeah, man. So I mean, that's that. When I saw him do that, I mean, that's that 88 stuff, man. That's that. Getting, putting yourself, your pain and all that other stuff to the side and thinking about the team and what the team needs to do. You know what I'm saying? And doing what you had to do to get the team going. You know what I'm saying? And Cooper did that. He didn't ask Britt, didn't come over there and try to assist him and try to help him out. None of that, man. He got his composure, got up, grabbed his little hip. And it's funny because everything in that video that I showed is what he's listed. Because he was laying on the ground holding his ankle, and when he got up, he grabbed like his quad. Yeah, I guess you say his hip. You know what I'm saying? But more importantly, man, he put all that to a side and had a big play and helped us get back in this game, man. Next, you got Tyrone Crawford, who was limited. Michael Gallup, Sean Lee, Zach Martin, limited. Tony Pollard was a full practice, which is good. Then you have Tyron Smith, right, who did not practice. Leighton Vander Esch, who did not practice. Antoine Woods, who's limited, which is good because limited means that Antoine Woods is one step away from being available to play. I kind of ran through those because I want to talk more about Tyron. We kind of talked about Tyron Smith already, opportunity. They said Leighton Vander Esch they had him down as an illness, so he didn't practice today. I'm hoping it's just a stomach bug. But I mean, if he's not able to go on Sunday, then I would assume you would have a linebacking core of Jalen Smith in the middle at middle, Sean Lee at your weak, and then Joe Thomas at your strong, at your opposite side of him. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that lineup, man? What are your thoughts on that?
Say that one more time.
As far as if LVU did not practice today, I'm just saying if he does not play. If he, whatever, we always talk about contingency plan. I have a contingency plan of Jalen Smith playing my middle linebacker, not LVB, Joe Thomas playing my strong, and then my boy Sean Lee playing my weak side.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, LV gotta play. There's nothing wrong with you, LV. You gotta play, buddy. I mean, like everybody. The only way you don't play this game coming off a loss right now is you basically got to have your leg cut off. That's how I see it. Like, I think, and then me looking at the injury report, I love what I'm seeing on the injury report because it was some guys on there that I didn't think that was going to be as good as they are. And it looked like going into, game 6 is that we looking pretty healthy. But LV, he also said after the game that he was going to work on his tackle. That was the thing. And maybe it was that maybe affected his game. And that could be the case. You never really know what's going on.
The bubble guts. I didn't have
guts, flu.
It
can be some stuff that it kind of just take you out your game. I've witnessed that with players, and I've experienced that once myself, where I just had a flu, and it was game time, and it was bad, and I tried to suck it up, and I ain't had my best game, and that's just honest, So, but a lot of times they're not gonna come out and say stuff like that. Well, I had the flu. They're not gonna make no excuses. They can, they can have 103 degrees, and they're not gonna tell you. You know what I mean? They gonna just suck it up. I ain't gonna never forget, man. This is kind of like an off the wall story, but we had a center that ended up playing for the Dallas Cowboys. His name was Ben Freaky for U of H, real good center. And I remember we was playing Alabama, and this guy was sick. He was real life sick, like fever. And my head coach said, "I don't give a D about your sickness. Suck it up. If you go play. I don't give a in front of everybody." And he was a captain. You know what I mean? So, I mean, something was off on LV. I can say that for sure. And so, to see him out, that almost confirms it, especially with some kind of funky diagnosis.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, somebody gonna have to add a Jordan flu game.
Yeah, sometimes. So, but I would like at all, and I even hate the thought of not going into a game without LVE. I hate the thought, especially now. That would be like, nah, cause see, our run defense is already suspect.
Yeah, I see you guys in the comments with the echo, and I didn't know it was echoing on here.
Yeah, it was already a suspect performance. And it's like you want those guys to get their chance to rebound. It's almost like what we said about the offensive line versus the Saints. We didn't want to abandon the running game versus Green Bay because it's like give our pro guys a chance to rebound from that whooping they took versus the Saints. You know, it's the same thing I would want to see with LVE. I want him to get his chance to kind of recover, get his confidence back. So I want him out there.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, man. So that was the end of the injury report. That was brought to you by my family over there at Cowboys Packages, man. The next thing we're gonna talk about is my boy Boston Cowboy put out an article, and it was his recap of this past week's game. And I wanted to after we do his recap, honestly, man, we basically moving on to the next week, man. We moving on to the New York Jets. Start giving them all the smoke that they need and all the smoke they deserve. You know what I'm saying? So after we do Boss Cowboys recap, we done with it. We up out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we done with
that. We on to the Jets. So Boss Cowboy, I'm gonna let you go ahead and shoot, man. Hey, and also I need to know
because I would rather y'all read it. It's on my page, and it's also on my Twitter, under my Twitter handle. But yeah, I mean, basically, it's a lot of. I'm gonna just say it straight up. It's a lot of lies going on when it comes down to this game, because when you're dealing with the national media, you can't really trust them because they spin stuff for ratings. Because what they're doing is they trying to make it more so about Aaron Rodgers and Dak. And I said this like under the heading and under the main paragraph. If I told you that Dak was gonna have a career high game in yards thrown, and Amari Cooper, and Aaron Rodgers didn't throw one touchdown, if I just said that, who would you say won the game?
Cowboys.
You would automatically say the Cowboys won that game. But we didn't. And so to even start the narrative like that is to show you how outside the box this game was, because this game was won on the ground. Yes, Aaron Rodgers did make some great throws. He made, like he's going to do that. But he more so was managing the game than having to put that game on his back. So if you're really not looking at what really happened, you pointing blame at the wrong things. What really broke us down was the run game from Green Bay. And if I said that Aaron Jones is going to tie a Green Bay record in touchdowns, we wouldn't have believed it going into that game. None of us would believe it. But that show you that we have a real crisis that I don't think a lot of people see. And the crisis is really in our interior. Let me tell you why. What was we saying going into the draft our biggest need was?
Defensive tackle.
And safety, right? But D tackle was first on the list. Well, let's just look at our team right now and going into that game. So going into that game, you have Antoine Woods, who is the real run stopper and the true run stopper of our team. He's not playing, right?
Yeah.
Then you look up and say, okay, the guy that we drafted that's supposed to be the impact guy
is getting absolutely no impact.
No impact, hardly any reps, right? So what does that say our need still is and major need?
D tackle.
Yep. So when you see linebackers and what's actually happening, if you really watch the film closely, a lot of the guards are getting what's called a 2-for-1. Okay, so what happens is they win at the point of attack where the D tackles and the guards collide. That's the point of attack. And if you win that matchup, you can then go to the next level and take out a linebacker. That's called a 2-for-1. But that's not going to happen if you have a D tackle that's getting good run penetration. It's not going to happen. They're not going to leak off of that. They only leak off of that tackle when they know they secured the block. Then they go to the next level. So what you having, what's going on a lot with Jalen as well as with LVE is what was happening. West Coast talked about this before with Ray Lewis. When Ray Lewis was getting older, what was the number one thing he said he needed to really free him up?
He said the GM came in and asked him like they actually were asking what could he do to take him to the next level, like what could he do to take him to like that next level of linebacker, and he said he needed to play free, like he needed to play clean. And what they did is he basically told them like that I need to get me the best fat daddy D tackle that you can get possible and drop him in front of me, and then he'll take on all that defensive tackle. Offensive guards and offensive tackles when they're doing all that pulling, and then Ray Lewis can play free to be able to tackle, running backs and quarterbacks. Because you got to remember, there's 3 levels to every football, to every defense. There's your first level, and as you get to the farther you get back in the levels, the smaller the players get too. Remember that. You know what I'm saying? You got your first level, which is going to be your big and nasties, which is going to be your defensive tackles and your defensive linemen. Your defensive end. That's level 1. Then level 2 is going to be your linebackers. Let me go back to level 1. Level 1 is going to be your defensive tackles, your defensive ends. Well, guess what? Your offensive line and your offensive guards and tackles are the same size as those guys, or they're trying to be a little bit bigger. Next, you have your linebackers. Linebackers are typically the same size as what? Running backs. Because most linebackers were running backs. That's just, I don't know. This is funny how, try to close the door slow. You know what I'm saying? You can tell when they don't punish me because they don't do it the way they supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I didn't do it, you did it. Boom! I got a rule book. The rule book say if you do this, you get that. This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I didn't make them. I just enforce them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you get to the second level, your linebackers are more like running backs because most running backs were linebackers like Jalen Smith. If you go look at Jalen Smith, some of his most dynamic plays in high school was him running the ball. Like that boy was nasty running the ball. And I'm going to ask him about that when I see him again too next week. So be on the lookout for that video too. I also got a video of Anthony Brown, a good interview, but I know y'all gonna crucify him if I drop it, so I ain't even trying to throw my work out there like that. I already know. Y'all gonna just look past the art and be like, well, why couldn't you do that on that 3rd and 2? You know what I'm saying? Anthony Brown. You know what I'm saying? Because I asked him a really good question about like getting himself prepared, and he gave me a good answer, so I'm going to wait till you have a good game, then I'm going to drop it. You know what I'm saying? I just gave my whole plan away on air, but hey, it be like that sometime. But yeah, man. So then thirdly, right, you have your third level, which is going to be your safeties and your DBs. And your safeties and your DBs are the size of what? Wide receivers and some tight ends. You know what I'm saying? Now, every run play that you ever have is always going to be built and designed to get your running back to the second level. Why? Because you want to get him past the guys that he's smaller than. You know what I'm saying? Because a running back is going to have hell trying to get through a defensive line where the offensive line can create a hole and get him to a guy that he's the same size. And then guess what? It gets smaller and he can make moves, and now you have a running back running for a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? And look at that. Go ahead, boss.
And I just looking at it from common sense. It's just to me, it's just common sense. You drafted a guy at 58 to be an impact player that's not impacting, so that means you have the same need. Let's just keep it all the way funky.
That means you didn't do your draft right, too.
You didn't cover that need. That's just what it is. And so if it was a crisis before the draft, it's then still what? A crisis. And it's still a crisis. So I'm trying to put the word out there and trying to put us on one accord on this drum beat, because I'm really kind of feeling like we are in I'm gonna say it like this: we're in a receiver by committee type of thing again, but we don't see it.
But it's defensive tackle by committee.
Yeah, it's defensive tackle by committee where really you kind of sometimes got to spend the money. And I'm just being all the way honest with everybody. Sometimes you just got to spend the money because, see, certain positions, you don't really get true day one impact unless you kind of like a top 15 guy.
Hey, I said earlier today, I don't expect nothing from any D tackle in his first year if you did not play at Alabama or if you do not get drafted in the first five. Like, if you don't come from Alabama, if you don't come from Clemson, like, I don't expect you to have any impact. You want to know why? Because think about this. You're probably playing, not even, think about this, boss. If you're playing at UCF, like, realistically, NFL quality offensive line, you're not really, you're playing them maybe twice a year. And this is no shade on Tristan Hill. This is just real facts. You're playing I'm not talking about a quality team, because, yeah, they play quality team, but I'm talking about an offensive line that is built like the pros. Bruh, that's the SEC. And every team in the SEC don't got that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you're not playing against those teams who specifically, it's going to take you, because, one, think about this. Most of the time, the D tackles are just sheer smaller. Like, if you're starting, think about this, Boss Cowboy. If you're a starting offensive lineman in the NFL, you're pretty good. Like, you may not be like Chaz Green, but if you're starting on the offensive line in the NFL, you're probably not a rookie, and you're probably pretty good. Going up against some rookies who aren't good and who are probably about 40 pounds smaller than you.
Right. And I'm not going to hammer this because we're going to talk about it in more depth on your next bullet. So I'll go to the next thing. And I'm only talking about a couple of things in the article I wrote, just a couple. The next thing that I kind of highlighted, because I could have highlighted a lot, but I highlighted Dak. And y'all will, a lot of people, they think I'm a Dak supporter or something like that. I think I'm just a factual guy. And one thing I can say about this game with Dak is, and I'm going to be all the way honest with everybody, I think Dak needs to dial it back. I think Dak is a little bit too anxious and played a little bit too anxious, even though it's already out that even Cooper blamed the second interception on himself. Now, who cares? But at the same time,
oh, we already knew that though. I didn't need Cooper to say that. No.
I'm talking about the one that was even obvious because see,
the only interception I put on Dak was the third one. I didn't put the second one on Coop.
Cooper said all three wasn't on him, but that's neither here nor there.
Nah,
that's not the real big point. My point is this, because see, they putting out, and I'm gonna tell y'all what to look out for right now. It's a smear campaign on Dak. It's a bunch of just real lies on Dak. I'm gonna point that out in a second too. But one of the things they highlighted, they said that Dak had no yards on third down throw. So when you put that out, that'll make somebody automatically think that, oh, he played bad. I want everybody to kind of use your common sense, because if he threw for 463 yards but had no yards on third down, what does that mean? I'm going to use one curse word. I'm going to just get everybody ready. That means he bummed their ass on first and second down. And that's exactly what happened. And that he was bumming. But it was almost like, don't take this wrong, it was almost like Romo ball, to where he was going for it. He was doing what everybody been saying they want to see, is letting it loose and all that kind of stuff.
The only problem was the Dallas Cowboys, like, our third down conversion was ridiculously, I think we were like 4 for 12. I'm trying to pull up the exact stat right now, but I mean, like, we were not good on third down. So I think that's how people were able to get that argument in there and try to use, not even that argument, but just, highlight that stat. You know what I'm saying?
Because you can highlight that stat, but like that stat
on third down.
That stat is almost useless when you bombing them on first and second down, and you
it ain't though because that lets you know that, guess what, we weren't always bombing them on second down, or because if we was bombing them on second down,
first and second down, that's where his record-breaking performance came from. Obviously, it's first and second down, and it matched the tape. Like, even think about it from this standpoint. Jason Garrett put us in an impossible situation by most quarterbacks. He put us when he threw that flag and we moved back on 1st and 25, most people, especially Scott Linehan, would have went in and ran a couple of give-up screens and punted. Dak on that very next play threw it to Zeke and first down right then. Boom. And the play before then, on the first down, it was a toe drag swag to Cooper. On first down, he was bombing them. I mean, he was killing them, just bombing them. So, but what I did like, though, is I like the Dak that sometimes says the defense wins. Because, see, that Dak will sometimes throw it away. That's the Dak I want. I'd rather have a boring Dak than a gunslinger Dak all day.
Yeah,
that's
44,
my critique from my article.
And also think about this, man. 44, I am putting that third interception on Dak. 44, but I will say this too. On 44 attempts, 1 interception, like the other 2 interceptions, receivers, you got to catch the ball, man. Like Amari Cooper, you're trying to be one of the top paid in your position. At some point, those guys make those catches. Like you can't like that. Like I only put that monitor because I played wide receiver. I played wide receiver, but I was really good at DB. You know what I'm saying? But I was fast, so they put me in wide receiver. But I was better at DB. You know what I'm saying? That's just how life is sometimes. So, but my thing is this, right? If you were trying to put yourself in that echelon, that top echelon of the top paid at that position, that means you're doing stuff that these other average guys aren't doing. And Amari Cooper, you do that. Like, you do that. You do some unaverage stuff. But when the ball, like this one drop a game, like, is basically kind of trending. And, you know, a lot of these drops, they're coming on not just like first downs. They're coming on plays where we need you to convert. You know what I'm saying? Now, I love his get-back game. I love it. I love the way he can drop a ball and come back and give you 220 yards. I love that. I love it, Amari Cooper. The only thing sucks is like in playoff games where the clock is like going extra fast. Bruh, you can't. Those are even bigger. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like I look at Coop, like Michael Gallup. Bruh, Michael Gallup's costing me. I mean, he wants to get paid $13 million, but he ain't making $13 million right now. So Amari Cooper, there's just no excuse for that. But to Dak's defense, you know, 44 attempts and 1 interception, that's what I really put on him. That's kind of typical for any quarterback in the NFL. Like, I don't know any quarterback. Patrick Mahomes throws interceptions. I know we don't pay attention to him. Why? Because he throws a gang of touchdowns too. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, you're going to throw interceptions. These dudes are getting played. Like, one of the highest paid positions on the defense is the cornerback position. Why?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Why do you think that is?
So my article focused in on I don't like the pressing Dak. I want the Dak that makes very smart decisions with the football and sometimes throw it away when the defense wins. You know, I don't like the fact that you're winning so much on first and second down because that means that you're really going for it a lot on first and second down. And every now and then the defense wins. My third point, and I'm gonna move on from the article, is because I made a lot of points, but you know I'm just kind of focusing on things that was kind of highlights to me. My third point and big point to me is still sadly watching this controversial, crazy competition between Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis. So I think, like, when you watching somebody that's obviously better not playing, I think that's just a bad culture that's being set and that's already set on our team. And I think that leads to bad discipline. Yeah. And I think it's a lot of discipline issues when you know I can mess up, but my job is not at stake. You know, so that doesn't tell me to max out. That tell me I'm gonna be forgiven, because certain players are just forgiven and forgiven and forgiven. Obviously, I highlighted Anthony Brown, but there's other ones too. Like Woods is still missing tackles on the third level. Like, and then like if you look at the corners, also what was happening on the corners, and most people didn't peep this, is they was losing containment, and it was horrible. Like the corners are the last containment outside of the defensive end. And I play corner. The number one rule is you never let somebody get outside of you, ever, because all of your help is obviously where? On the inside. If you let them outside of you, that can be 6.
The only thing you got on the outside is the
sidelines. Yeah. So when he, you know, waved at him from that touchdown, that was all Jones. I mean, you have to keep that outside shoulder and make him go inside, and that's where the linebackers are, the safeties are, and they mess around and knock his head off.
Yeah, man. And I'm gonna tell you something too about these corners. They're too okay with freaking tackling. Like, no, bro, your job is to cover first. Like they want to pride themselves on being good tacklers. No, pride yourself on being a good coverage, so it don't even come to a tackle.
Yeah,
because I see these receivers catching a lot of balls and them tackling.
Yeah,
and then them spinning off of them.
I counted. They lost containment. The corners lost containment 3 times, and each time it was pivotal. Either move the chains or it was touchdown. So and then Woods missed the safety for a touchdown on Jones, and this is the same stuff we've been dealing with. So when we go back and say West Coast said this about 2 weeks ago, it's been true since he said it. He said, Boss Cowboy, have you noticed? He said this about 2 weeks ago. He said, have you noticed that the same need that we went into the draft is the exact same need we have now? Today. I say, damn, you right. Day. Yeah, and then I'm going to be honest, man, we shouldn't have let Georgia Local go, because that's one thing about Georgia Local that you could count on. He was a sure tackler. Sure tacklers win this game. And I mean that. Sure tacklers, we win this game. Now, I don't care about interceptions. I don't care about flash. This game came down to details and fundamentals, brother.
Yeah, and man, also
we didn't have it from catches. We didn't have it from containment. We didn't have it from missed tackles. We missed, and I'm focusing on what really broke the game down. Not this old mirage BS about Dak versus Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. I mean, if you get caught up into that, you're not really analyzing the game. If we talking about what really broke down the game, it was not stopping the run.
Yeah,
for a lot of different reasons.
The exact same thing that happened in the Rams game. Like, honestly, like I always go back to the Rams game, because it's like at the end of the day, like if we don't fix, like when you go into the offseason, the only thing you should be thinking about is fixing the reason why we're in the offseason, why other teams are playing. And that is what? We got gashed in the middle. Like, that should have been so like smacked on our head. That should have been so like oh my God, we gotta fix this right freaking now. Like, you would think, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna tell you what another team would have did. Another team would have overpaid. They would have overpaid. They would have went into free agents and got the best D tackle available. Why? Because they would have been like, we was one D tackle away from going to New Orleans. And look, and guess what? The Rams got a good call. What if we would have got that call? Now we in the Super Bowl. And if we in the Super Bowl, goddamn Tom Brady only scored 13 points. Well, guess what? That's all we gonna let you score anyway.
Right, West Coast.
We would have won the Super Bowl on some weird stuff.
West Coast, can we make a halftime adjustment real quick?
Sure.
And move the bullet forward? Since you brought that up, we got to.
I mean, I ain't tripping.
Yeah, we can skip.
I mean, we already kind of talked about. We kind of talked about Dak already. I mean, in the last.
Yeah, and I still want to talk about Dak money, because there's a lot going on with that. But that trade for DT, since you brought that up, me and West Coast did some research. Okay, and on what he said, and see, don't sleep on what West Coast just said. When you had a need that big, sometimes you just have to pay for it.
Yeah, just overpay. Like
just pay for it.
Just overpay.
I think sometimes we get so dug in on this build through the draft philosophy. No. I think sometimes we have to be a little bit flexible in that philosophy.
And it's also arrogant to think that your way is going to work every single time. Like I said, I also believe in this. One of my business partners told me this. Never do business with someone who will not calculate the fact that you could fail. Why? Because, bro, look how many kids you got? How many kids I got? Like, if we fail, they still got to eat. So you better be figuring something out.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what you can't like the Dallas Cowboys, like they err, and I hear it all the time. I'm gonna trust Will McClay. I trust him too. I do, but I also trust that players they just don't end up being what you think they are. It just happens. Like, do you honestly think that we went into draft and said Bobby Carpenter is going to be the biggest bust of the Dallas Cowboy history? Give him to me. No, we didn't think that. No. Have you ever went to a job that you lost, or they let you go? They asked you, "Hey, you know what? We don't need you here no more." Did you actually, when you got hired that first day, did you honestly think that they was gonna be letting you go later on? No, you kidding, because nobody takes a job to fail. That's just life. It happens. So I think a bunch of it happened in this draft. Just like, think about this, Boss Cowboy. We had a year in 2015 where the whole damn offense just so happened to get injured. Dez, Cody Romo goes down. Freaking Dez freaking breaks his foot. Like right after 2014. Guess what? It happens.
Right.
It happens.
And you could tell West Coast that the front office in its wisdom was prioritizing DT. It was a priority. Yeah. Steven said it all the time, and I'm gonna do it in his voice. Hey, the way Rod uses those guys, and the way Rod rotates those guys, and demands he demands 150% after those guys. We have to have the depth at that position if we're going to be able to kind of put that pressure on the quarterback. That's like one of the most important things that we're looking at in this offseason is making sure that Rod had what he needs for us to. Then he picks a booger. He does it real smooth. He does it like this. He picks a booger. Then
That's the rich man's way of picking it up.
You'll never see him actually do it. He cuffs his finger. I learned the technique. He cuffs his finger and he uses his thumb to get it on out, and then he'll sometimes even flick it in your face. Hey man, I be watching Steve. When Steven speak, man, I be glued in, man. I even know how my man pick his boogers. But anyway, yeah. So now he was locked in and focused in on it, man. Like, I just want to go through a couple of the numbers and contracts that went out this free agency, and talk about maybe what we can do going forward to maybe fix this crisis. I call it a crisis. See, Sue went for $9 million. Snacks went for $11 million. Mike Daniels out of Green Bay went for $8 million on a 1-year contract. Jerry McCoy went for $8 million on a 1-year contract, and Terry McLean went for $1 million.
Now these are all free agents that the Dallas Cowboys over the last 12 months have had an opportunity could acquire. Now, I'm going to tell you, when you say that, oh my God, $8 million is a lot of money. Well, Robert Quinn currently right now is on a 1-year deal for $8 million. So that lets you know what $8 million is worth to the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not saying we could have not, I like Robert. I would never be like,
I love Robert.
I love Robert. That's why I say we could have had Robert Quinn for that amount of money and gave on a 1-year deal to somebody else also. Like the Dallas Cowboys had the bread.
No, we have the money. No, that's no doubt. And this is why I like the strategy of go ahead and getting the mercenary at DT and just saying the hell with it. We got our guy, even if it's on a 1-year rental, is because you asking a lot from a DT in the second round to come in and be a savior.
And you asking for a lot to ask from the big homie Antoine Woods, too, who ain't played in 3 weeks.
You know what people say, West Coast? They'll say, "Oh, y'all are just looking at Tristan Hill through hindsight. Y'all was high on Tristan Hill. You're a lie."
I know. Not West Coast.
From day one, West Coast and I was scratching our head at that pick like, bruh, this dude had a 4th round grade. Yeah. By most analysts. Yeah. Dane Buehler in the Dallas Cowboys,
and I was going to say in his guide that the Dallas Cowboys sell in their store.
Him as a 4th round grade. It was only Cowboy fans that was high on him. Everybody else around the league was not high on Tristan Hill. And then the stuff that we just looked over was clear red flags, like got into it with a coach.
Yeah.
And then got put on the bench. And all that kind of stuff that we just glossed over, like, that's okay. But Rod likes it. He sat down with Rod on his birthday. Damn, if I'm trying to get $1 million job, I'd do it too.
Hey, and think about this, boss. Think about this. Realistically, since this was a draft that so many people got pushed back, if you was really a 4th round draft pick grade, that means you probably should have got drafted in the 5th round because there was so much other better talent that got pushed back.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if you was a 4th round pick, you should have been
exactly. If you was a 4th round grade in this draft,
you probably should have been picked in the 5th or 6th round. Why? Because there was 1st round draft pick graded guys in the 2nd round available.
Yeah. So like going forward, I really pray that the Cowboys really treat this urgency. That's why I called it a receiver by committee crisis that most people not seeing. Because, see, what we did wrong with the receiver by committee is we kind of rolled the storm out.
Underestimated it, too.
Yeah, we rolled the storm out, and then Will McClay finally said that he got to a point where he was like, no, we're not riding this storm. We got to go do something. And Will McClay and his team, they went and found Cooper. That's the same thing they can do with the D tackle. Now,
Yep.
I'm not saying that the one is sitting out there, but usually coming up to the trade deadline,
There's going to be names.
it's gonna be names floating out there for people to shop, and it's gonna be like, what are you willing to give up for it? And it's like at this point we could have paid for it. The next time we're gonna probably have to pay for it and give up a couple of draft picks for it, maybe like a third round or something like that. But if we calling this a win now year, we gotta patch that hole.
Right now.
I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell you why it's important right now, more important right now, because generally as the season goes on, your D tackles get worse and worse and worse in terms of injury. Those trenches don't get better. Those bodies usually drop off.
And then, you know what? And don't forget about your linebackers. You guys, I'm already making videos about the linebackers and what's going on with the linebackers. And I'm telling you guys, like, go watch this last game. Like, go watch how often LVE or Jalen Smith had a freaking guard or a tackle in their face, right?
Turn them up.
And then think about this. And I'm going to tell you what they do also, that something that they did not notice, but when you watch the game 4 or 5 times, you'll notice this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you what they also did. They would run the guards at them, right? And sometimes the guard would just occupy them, right? And on the very next play, they would pass. Now, I'm going to tell you, you're thinking, what does that mean? That's nothing, West Coast. But basically what I'm saying is, I want you to go try to fight a 300-pound man, right? For about 40 seconds. Then after you finish fighting him for 40 seconds, line right back up and try to go rush after Aaron Rodgers, who's doing all kind of zippity-doo-dah stuff. This was a game where they also tested like your endurance. You know what I'm saying? Because they were doing some, like, you know when you be playing Madden and you be looking like, dang, I'm going to wear that right hand side out because they're going to get tired, and then they ain't going to be able to chase me around. Why? Because he tired now. That's real. They use real life situations against them because these guys are still going to give you their best and their all, but just like in real life, man, these dudes are these dudes are human. So there's going to be times like you get walked up the field running after a running back, and on the very next play, you got to switch your motion and run forward. Bruh, you're not getting a 100% LVE. You're not.
No.
Your conditioning is being tested.
So what you're saying is the domino effect of not having a super quality DT is a domino effect to the second level. And also it's gonna, and I'm gonna tell you, and let's just think about, like, because you know I ain't gonna say I like to panic, but I like the 4C. Yeah, that's what I do.
A D tackle is also going to do one or two things to your linebacker's career. It's going to either extend their career or it's going to shorten their career. Why? Because you saw with Sean Lee, Sean Lee has 160 tackles. He has 170 tackles. Now Sean Lee can barely walk. Why? Because how many car accidents you going to take, bruh? Yeah. Like, are we going to learn from Sean Lee? Like, there's a reason why he's injury prone. Why? Because he's making so many damn tackles. Like, that's not a good thing. Like, it's good when you're a rookie, but on your second contract, you're not trying to lead the league in tackles. No. You're trying to lead the league in something else.
Let's talk about a couple of the dominoes. So you talked about, the linebacker as a domino. This also works against us in game planning. Like, for instance, if we could have stopped the run, we would have had Aaron Rodgers throwing to average receivers.
Yep.
That's what we wanted.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So they were still able to get their game plan executed because of the lack of push in the middle. They got ahead of us with the run, y'all. Not the pass, the run. Okay? So that put us in a position to where they actually took away our strength by getting ahead, and we had to take away Zeke and say, Dak, it's on you. And that's all because we couldn't stop the run. So I'm forecasting something. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're Philadelphia, are you going to try to beat us with Wentz, or are you going to try to beat us with that top offensive line?
You're going to honestly, I already told y'all, if you're a playoff team, you're running up the middle. If you're one of these teams that don't really watch film and you're not good, then you're going to try to pass the ball and blah, blah, blah. But if you're a real team, that like has aspiration of going to the playoffs and going somewhere, when you play the Dallas Cowboys, you're gonna dummy down your offense and you're gonna say, hey guys, we're gonna run right up the middle until the Dallas Cowboys stop us, and then when they stop us, we'll change. But hopefully by that time we'll be like deep in the third quarter and we'll be up by like 14. Right. So guess what? They can't really run back. So it puts them in an obvious situation. And if you notice, that's what the Rams did. I said this statement, man, and I'm waiting for the Dallas Cowboys to fix this statement. I said the one thing that I absolutely hate about this Rams game, outside of us being out the playoffs and our season being over, is that they just put some legitimate tape on how to beat the Dallas Cowboys. And guess what? Now we have to fix that tape. Just like Anthony Brown got some bad tape out there, and that's why he gets picked on. That's what my question was actually about him getting picked on. But because I just feel, man, you can't just be talking about players all the time and then you see him and then ask him, hey, man, what's your favorite banana ice cream? Or I don't know. I can't do that. We talk about them and these players too much for when and I'm gonna be honest with you. My boy Donovan Alumba is proof that these players watch our content, man. My boy has given me 2 of his player hats, man, simply on some just, hey, man, and every time he gives him a hat, he says one thing, I appreciate that video you did. And that was a video I did on him in preseason, bro. That was 2 months ago. And he gave me his hat this past weekend before that video. Again, this is the second hat he gave me at a game. And every time, both times he said the exact same thing. I appreciate that video.
That's love. That's love. That's a lot of love. I want to address one question real quick. Willie said, why didn't we make the adjustments to make Aaron Rodgers throw the ball? We couldn't stop the run.
We couldn't.
The adjustment was to stop the run.
Yeah,
we couldn't. The run, you make him throw. So we couldn't stop the run. So he was more so kind of making good throws only when he had to.
Absolutely.
We didn't say, Aaron, we go make you throw to these average receivers and be Mr. Hero. That is not how they won that game.
And then I'm curious to know how many of those passes had a play action or some type of fake on it. And guess what? In a game where you're getting gashed up the middle, you have to respect every fake. You want to know why? Because if you don't, 6.
Yep.
6.
Yep. So I see DT as crisis. I see something.
Is it Amari Cooper? Is it 3 and 5?
I would hope that Dallas says this. We went into offseason with the goal of addressing this. We definitely made the effort, but at this point it's not addressed, and we need to treat it with the same urgency as we had going into the draft.
Yep, because you're going to get Tristan Hill cut.
It's now even more urgent because the season is here. You know, the deals are limited, and it's almost like, why did we give up a first for Cooper? Because the season was here, and we was trying to save our season. It's the same thing that I hope that we do, and it don't necessarily have to be a Sue, or it don't have to be Snacks. It just have to be somebody that you feel like has the pedigree of a solid run stopper. They don't even have to be super impactful, man. Just somebody that, hey, I penetrate and I free up the linebackers. I'm not sexy. I'm built bad like Snacks, but my job is simple and I do it well. And, now, if you can go find your David Irvin in the trash, well, God bless you, Will McClay. But at the same time, to me, shopping has to be done now.
Yeah, and this is what and this is something too. Remember this statement that Chris Richard said? What are our biggest 2 needs right now? D tackle and safety, right? Well, Chris Richard said, well, we don't need safety if we have a D tackle that's able to get in there and get pressure. Well, guess what happened?
Slow it down. You said that too fast.
I know you caught it.
I caught it. Say it again, though.
Okay.
You
don't need a D tackle. You don't need a safety if you got a big D tackle there that's able to get pressure. You know what I'm saying? But the only flip side to that coin is when you're not getting pressure,
you heard your safety.
You need a safety. So guess what? And think about this. You can get one player. You can either get 2 average players, or you can just get one really good player who will make that average players that you have right now better. And I'm gonna tell you right now, there's 2 things I said earlier today, and this is powerful. I want you guys to feel this in your soul. Right? If you want to fix your offense, pay that. You want to fix your defense, pay a defensive tackle. But either way, I learned this statement in business and in being a district manager for a large company. Some problems can only be fixed with money. Period. Like, you can't tell me you're sorry. You can't say I won't do it again next time. You can't even say I'm gonna do it right this time. Some problems in life can only be fixed with money. And I'm going to keep it real with you. Man. This problem right here, if you want someone to be able to stop someone, think about this. By stopping the run, you get the hot boys back. Because the foundation of the hot boys is stopping the run. Like, I don't get people that's like, oh, what are the hot boys? They need to change their name. They're not even hot anymore. I'm like, well, bruh, like, who's playing D-tackle right now? Like, Christian Covington's not a hot boy. Tristan Hill's not a hot boy. Malik Collins is a hot boy, and he definitely played, but you need two. We run a 4-3.
One thing that you said, man.
Joe Jackson ain't no hot boy.
One thing that you said, I think it was a week ago, or maybe 2 days ago. I'm starting to run my days together. But one thing that you said that I picked up on, you said for Chris Richard to make a statement that our D tackle is going to help our safety was making the assumption that Tristan Hill was going to be an instant impact player.
Like right now.
Right now. So basically we looking at the failure of a pick. Because y'all picked him basically saying he's instant impact, so impactful.
Which was not realistic for a D. Like, I'm gonna ask you guys right now. I'll give a gift away. Somebody tell me a D tackle who was impactful, who's had a 4th round draft pick grade in his first season playing against seasoned offensive linemen.
Yeah. Tony said Woods coming back is going to help. True.
It is, but
that's going to help. But keep this in mind: we rotate.
And let's also keep it in mind he ain't played in 3 weeks. Now I'm not. This is what I do, right?
And he playing hurt.
Thank you. And this is my thing, boss. Like I love my hot boys enough to not put unexpected expectations on them. On 3rd down, they're gonna throw at Anthony Brown. So my thing is don't get better. Just take him off the field. So my thing, like I'm just real. I love him enough to just say the real. Just take him off the field. Put somebody else out there. That within itself is an upgrade. You know what I'm saying? So guess what? With my boy Antoine Woods, I'm realistic the fact that I've hung out with him enough outside of practice and seen him moving the way he's moving and know that he was really hurt. Yeah, so when I think of that, I say, if he's fake hurt, he'll come back and he can just be right there on the Johnny on the spot, out there playing, doing all this stuff. But when you really hurt, like there's gonna be some human aspects to this game we call football. Like that dude that you're playing against, he ain't been hurt and he been playing every single week.
They said that Woods practiced Friday and they didn't feel like he was.
But guess what? I'm okay with that. But this is what you gotta understand.
I was echoing your point. Just to your point,
our need for D tackle is bigger than Antoine Woods.
Yeah, it need to be in addition to Antoine Woods.
Yes, because we had Antoine Woods in the Rams game. We had Antoine Woods weeks 1 through 3.
Yeah, I mean the news. They asking about Gregory.
I mean, I'll keep it real with you. We was going to talk about that on the What's on Your Mind. We can kind of
we come to that.
We can kind of talk about both for a couple minutes. Randy Gregory, I'm gonna just keep it real with you guys. I do not think the Dallas Cowboys have plans on him playing this year. And to keep it real with you, if you can't guarantee that he's gonna get reinstated, why even put you through those steps? Why not just wait till when you know you can? You know what I'm saying? So I believe that the Dallas Cowboys know that the CBA is going to expire next year and that they'll have a better chance of getting him reinstated. You know what I'm saying? So,
and another thing about Randy is, like, you can get no better ends than Quinn and Tank. You can't.
Yeah. Randy's not better than Quinn.
They the best in the league. But see, I wanted to address this yesterday. I'm going to address it now. Somebody said, where is Tank? The same thing with the Rams.
I said,
not available for the Rams. What kind of plays is he gonna make when they running up the middle?
The same plays D-Law making.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I try to tell people that, bro.
Yeah, it's like
people ain't trying to hear that though.
Look, the way that you really get the best out of Quinn and Tank is make a team throw. If you're not making them throw, you neutralize Tank and Quinn. So that's why Green Bay went into this game like we gotta win it with Jones. It was just like nobody thought that was gonna happen.
Yep.
Like I wouldn't have bet that. I'm telling you, even though he had a good game last game, I was like the way that LVE and Jalen rocked against the Saints. I said, oh yeah, we go handle that running game. That's what in my mind. But when they came out, it didn't happen. So I'm explaining how because what did the Seattle do when we played them game 1 in 2017 to neutralize Tank? They ran the ball. So if you run the ball, don't look for a lot of sacks from it's not gonna happen. I mean, the people that should have really racked up sacks should have been Green Bay.
Yeah.
Because Dak was in a must-throw situation almost on every down.
Dropping
so
back
that's where
5
your
and
defensive
7
end
yards.
can pin their ears back and be like, it's time to get a bonus.
Dropping 5 and 7 yards.
Yeah. So
You got 2 backup tackles and you dropping 5 and 7 yards.
Yeah, they
I
should
don't
have
get
been
it.
eaten.
That's bad
That's
play
why
calling.
I wanted to put this in my article, but it would have been too long. Special acknowledgement on Brandon Knight, man. He's an unsung hero to me, brother. To step in that game under the conditions of that game, I don't kiss men. But if I saw you, I would kiss your forehead and say, boys don't recognize how real that was what you did. Because he was protecting
From
Dak in a must-pass situation as an undrafted free agent, and nobody give a damn about him no more, and he did it.
Yeah. And then, yeah. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not really even your defensive line. It's really your defensive tackle. And I think some people, when they talk about DeMarcus Lawrence, when you talk about DeMarcus Lawrence, your mind is thinking that he's a D tackle. DeMarcus Lawrence is not a D tackle. DeMarcus Lawrence is actually one of the better defensive ends against the run, actually.
Yeah.
Like
him and Quinn this year.
Easily against the run. Considering that's what we have to do. But they're coming from you got to think like this. D-Law is on a run play. He's running toward the quarterback. So when he recognizes that a run, the running back is already past him. So he has to then stop and turn around and pursue the running back. He's not a D tackle.
Dan Trinchina said they should have signed Sue to a 1-year deal. I absolutely agree.
Absolutely agree.
Because, they will see Sue was lobbying to be a Dallas Cowboy.
So was Snacks Harrison. Snacks came to the game.
Snacks
came to the game in a Antoine Woods jersey. Was in the Miller Lite zone at the playoff game. I didn't even see him. Like, I thought he was a regular Cowboy fan, I guess. But Snacks Harrison came to the Dallas Cowboys Seattle Seahawks game with an Antoine Woods jersey on.
Yeah, that's basically begging. When you begging to be a Dallas Cowboy, sign him. See, because I'm gonna say it like this. See, Cooper, I think DT and I'm gonna call it like this: a mercenary DT would have the effect that Cooper had to our offense.
On the defense?
Multiple people. Yeah. It's gonna be like a spread of
Byron Jones will be a lockdown corner.
One person, I'm not gonna say one, I'm gonna say like a combination of like when you add a quality like Sue to like an Antoine Woods, like real run stoppers. You add that to our defense. You put the other team in passing situations, which makes Quinn and Tank go off.
That means Byron Jones goes back to being a lockdown corner.
It helps your secondary. It helps your linebackers with scraping and cleaning up trash, and they not getting caught in trash. One position is a domino to the whole defense. If you want to see the real hot boys, pay a real where you say this dude is a killer run stopper. Period. Like right now, guess what Tampa Bay is right now on stopping the run with the addition of Sue?
What?
Number one.
I believe it. And think about this, bro. And think about this, right? Like dropping that fat D tackle in there. Giving someone, man, that's going to help. That's also going to push. Then you'll be able to get your money out of DeMarcus Lawrence. Because at $24 million, you're not paying him to freaking tackle running backs. You don't give a damn about that. You're paying him to tackle the quarterback with the hand in his face. But guess what? He's not even getting an opportunity to do that. Why? Because the ball's coming out so fast. And that's what you're supposed to do. Like, a lot of the stuff that they're doing to Dallas Cowboys is just textbook football. Like, it ain't nothing like overtly like, oh my God, that was genius. No, they don't have an inside running up the middle.
Everybody what to do that's listening to us. What you should do is start spreading the conversation. Like, start kind of putting the word out. Like,
what would you give up for somebody right now?
Exactly. Like, instead of just like, I don't want to be a complainer. I want to be somebody that's trying to be solution oriented, where we're trying to actually find, different positions that can actually help what we're talking about. Like, who is the Cooper that's sitting out there at DT? Because, see, remember, Cooper wasn't sexy when we acquired him.
Nope.
He was not sexy. He was still leading the league in drops. We see that now. We see that.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't. I'll be like 2017. Amari Cooper led the league in drops. Right. In the beginning of the season, they'd be like, "No, he didn't. You're just hating." And then some people would actually go, "He did." But now, when I say it, people be like, "Yeah, I can see that."
It was true. It was true when you said it then.
I can see that now. I can see that. West
Coast. Yeah. I mean, but now, like, we talking about this because we really. I mean, yes, Jay Smith said this. Jay Smith said, would Jerry listen, though? Yeah. Jerry definitely cares about his fan base. That's and see, Boss Cowboy, my sports page anthem is Your Voice Matters. It matters, and that's why he does so much PR before they make decisions. That's why they do poll tests before they make decisions. They greatly care about what we think. I think it's us that's holding up Dak. More than anything, I think it's the fact that we split on paying Dak is why they not paying Dak, because they don't want to lose the revenues from half of they fan base. And that's just true. So it's one of those things to where, just do something. Like, just start a conversation on Facebook, put it in a group, who we acquire, who's available. I think we need a DT. Just spread the word. I mean, because you never know what can happen from us just talking.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. And I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. We don't entertain like ignorant stuff like firing your head coach in the middle of a season that you're trying to win a Super Bowl. Like, I'm gonna tell you guys like this: if you want to fire Jason Garrett, then accept that you're not going to the playoffs this year, because there's never been a team that's done that. And I don't think this is the team that's going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's in college. That's in the NFL. Like, when you fire your coach in the middle of the season, that is a signal that you were trying to get a number 1 or number 2 draft pick overall. Why? Because you're going to be looking for a new quarterback. Why? Because that new head coach is going to probably want his own quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's a whole, like, that's why I said, like, the
solution is to get Will McClay to work.
Thank you. Make these dudes do their job.
Because he's good at it. Like, right? So, I mean, and then I just want them looking at it. That's all I want. I don't want them riding the ship like they did ride receiver by committee. Like, I knew within 3 games that I knew game 1. But I gave it to 3 games before I was like, I'm out on this. This is crazy. Don't sell me on a bunch of number 3 receivers working for our quarterback. I ain't hearing it.
And think about this: all them receivers, none of them are on the team right now.
Yeah. So
Darian Thompson's not on the team. Allen Hurns is not on the team. Who else did we bring in that with that? It was Allen Hurns, Thompson. Who was our wide receiver that core that year?
Yeah, we had Hurns, then we had Thompson, then we had obviously Cole.
Cole's not on the team no more.
Yeah, we had a bunch of averages, man. It was a matter of fact, people really don't notice that receiving core was graded to last place in average separation per target. So, I mean, that was just a failure by front office in terms of weaponing up Dak. That was an outright failure.
I mean, the ESPN ranked us as having the third. Oh yeah, Butler. We were ranked
Butler
because he didn't come into the week 5 or 4.
And then they didn't even play him. But I mean, you're right. Technically, you're right. But how they did him was wrong. Then Noah Brown. Oh my God. This is a bad memory. I don't even want to talk about 2018 first 17 game. I mean, first 8 games. But man, you still want to try to tackle Dak money?
Man, we've been on here an hour and 20 minutes. We could talk about it for a couple minutes. I ain't tripping.
Well, I mean, one thing I'm gonna tell everybody that's listening right now, man, keep your eyes open, man, because it's a whole lot of smear campaign and outright lies going on. there's a major group of people that just dislike Dak. It's half of them are our own fans, but then there's another big segment of people that's outside of Dallas that don't like Dak. A lot of it is jealousy that's outside the Cowboy fan base, but the other half of the fans, or some of them are just really don't like Dak. Some of them are really still hurt about Romo. That's a majority of people that don't like Dak. And because of that segment of people that don't like him, just period, they just putting out just pure lies right now. So they put out, because we lost to the Saints, right? And we just lost to Green Bay. They saying that Dak is not good on winning teams. But see, I'm going to post this on my page so you can see the evidence. But this is what they did that's super dirty and deceptive. They only went back to 2017. They didn't count 2016 because if you did, you can't make that argument, because most of the teams that we won against in 2016 was winning teams. Baltimore, Detroit, the Redskins Part 2, Green Bay, Cincinnati, Minnesota was all winning teams, right? So that's 5 that you have to add to what they didn't add from 2017 to now. So it's straight deceptive, and it's a pure lie. Another thing that they putting out right now is that Dak is 1-8 if Zeke don't get 75 yards. It's a lie. If you just think about it, what was Dak's record when Zeke didn't play during the suspension? 3-3. So that obviously makes that a lie. So why are they lying? They don't care about Dak money. They just want the ratings that come from the speculation about his money. So when we talking about Dak money, one thing right now that I can say is Dak been due his payment. Dak already put out there that he's not trying to be number one. He said that out his own mouth. I'm not trying to be over Russell Wilson. But you know who he's trying to be above right now? And he should be?
Where?
Wentz.
Yeah.
And Goff. That's who he's trying to top, and that's where they hung up on. It's that simple. Because he said out his own mouth, I'm not trying to be Russell Wilson right now. I think you need a Super Bowl to get that. He said that on his own mouth. So he put the bottom. So everybody that's saying 40 million, you're making that up now, because he said out his own mouth, I'm not looking for 40. I'm not looking for 35. That's Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's average per year is 35 million. So he said, I'm not looking for that. He said, I'm looking to be enumerated better than the guys that I was drafted with, because across the board, since I started, I'm better than them, especially this year. So there are guys right now, and I'm done talking about Dak money. I ain't going to take me long at all. It's guys right now that's paid, and it's in the psyche and the head game that Dak has to push through is sad, and it hurts our potential because he's still playing with a distraction. Let me remind you what Russell Wilson said when it came down to him getting enumerated. He said, look, he said it just like this. I want to be paid before April 15th because we're going to be starting OTAs, and I don't want the distraction as I'm trying to prepare for the season. He said that for OTAs. He's saying himself dealing with contracts and trying to play football is not good for my psyche. Guess who is the leading MVP candidate right now?
Who?
Oh, yeah, it's Russell Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
It's Russell Wilson, because their organization said, you're right. By April 16th at 2 a.m, they paid him because it was good for football. So Dak right now is still waiting to be paid and trying to stop the nonstop talk, the nonstop chatter that he's supposed to tune out and play his best games for us and for himself. Yeah. So, yeah, when you're dealing with Dak money and you're dealing with this has been a debacle, and this has been a ball drop before April. Before April. I'm going to say this. Tank shouldn't have been the first. Zeke shouldn't have been the third. The first person that should have been paid.
Cooper. Should have been Cooper because he
really
13.
should have been Cooper.
yeah, because you can't be accounting wise, it should have been Amari Cooper.
Accounting wise, you're right, because that would have saved us a lot of money on the cap to do that. But in terms of just what
they ain't gonna do nothing all the way right. Like that'll never ever happen.
Yeah, but my boy Rodney said Russell Wilson can drop the ball anywhere he wants. Also, yeah, when you can focus on football, you will. When you had all out season to not be distracted with money, contracts, and all this kind of stuff.
That ain't true though, because last year Russell Wilson in one of his best seasons, guess what? Guess what they led the NFL in? They were the number 1 rushing team in the NFL. So they drafted a running back in the first round, then they were traded for another guy, and then Carson ended up being the guy they want. Like they don't even want Russell Wilson in that position where he has to win games, and they still paid him. Like they paid Russell Wilson, and you know what they did? Like if they really wanted to make Russell Wilson put it all in his back, you don't go get DK Metcalf. You don't get him. You know what I'm saying? So they paid him because they want him. Because they want him to be where they fit. You know, they don't want to have a situation where they could lose him or him be unhappy. You know what I'm saying? And they cared about that enough to pay him because they understand how that affects players. Dallas doesn't understand that.
Rodney asked a good question. He said, "Okay, how about this? Listen now, are they holding off on Dak because of what you said?" I mean, I think we got a great deal to do with that. I think our fan base is split, and they are very concerned about that. They are concerned about the economics of paying Dak and losing half their fan base.
Why? What are you trying to do with the money? Can I ask you a question? What for all the folks that want to say?
Coast, I know it's not football smart.
Yeah, so like what are you doing with the money? What are you trying to build? What are you trying to buy with the money? Like that's what I be asking people.
Yeah, I think that point is valid because there's a long track record of Jerry mixing business with football, like, and even when it's not wise. So I think that's one reason. The second reason, I think they put themselves over a barrel. They went out there and they talked so big about we're not going to play off. See, they went out there and they talked so big and bold in the public about we're not going to make Dak need to take a friendly deal. We're not making any of these guys market setting contracts. And you did all that big talking. When you really look at the history of quarterbacks, and look, we did this all off season. Trust me, we spent hours and hours and hours discussing this mess over the off season. We know this. I'm gonna tell you right now, there is no young franchise quarterback that has been done like that. None. All the contracts from Luck to Carr to Stafford to Garoppolo to Cousins to all the young quarterbacks, franchise quarterbacks playing right now and underperforming Dak right now, all had their contracts done before the start of the season. 10 of them. 10 young franchise quarterbacks all had their contracts. We the only team that put this distraction in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
and nobody talking about it. Nobody's saying what the hell are we doing? Because it's a reason why everybody. When did golf get done? Right before the season. They said, we ain't going to start the season with this. We're not going to start the season with this. And think about this. They had actually told golf, and they had actually said at the beginning of the season, because at the beginning of the off season, they put a statement out that said that they had mutually agreed that they were going to wait till next year. And I remember I was laughing like, man, ain't nobody mutually agreed to say that I'm going to wait for you to pay me next year. Like, ain't nobody mutually going to agree to that. No. Somebody's going to tell you that and you're going to accept it. But we're not going to get coming like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to just wait till next year. I think it's best for the team that I can slap yourself. Like, nobody does that, man. And I'm going to go and say it how it is, man. Like, one thing I put in my article, I said, man, I tell it like it is. I don't tell it how it should be. You know what I mean? So I'm going to tell it like it is. The Dallas Cowboy talent that we have is gifted at playing through dysfunction.
Yep.
That's just what it is.
They're definitely the right guys. When he says that, they're definitely the right guys.
Woo, well said. They are the right guys.
They're definitely the right guys.
They the right guys. Because look, because everybody right now say, what was you heard? Because believe it or not, it was Scott Linehan defenders.
And Antonio Brown wouldn't make it. Antonio Brown.
What was Scott Linehan? We was winning in 2016.
Yeah. And think about this.
But what came out after they fired him?
Everything.
It was major dysfunction.
Yeah.
They was saying, and this was in our locker room. So we preach, we can't have distractions in the locker room. Dez was a
That's
counselor
why
in the
Dez
locker
got
room.
kicked out.
Yeah, he's a counselor. So, but see, nobody does better distracting to the locker room than our front office. They are the best distractors of the chemistry of our locker room. It's nobody better at distracting and hurting chemistry than our front office. Nobody. Period. So, like, they said this came out through one of my favorite journalists, Jane Slater. She said, I talked to the people in the locker room and I talked to the front office. And the people in the locker room were saying that if Scott Linehan didn't like you, you played less. And they still won 7 games, the last 8 games with that dysfunction. That's dysfunction. That means Dak is sitting out there like, this guy should play, but he's not going to play because Scott don't like it.
Yeah.
And they still won. So it's this team is like what West Coast said, they the right guys. If we can just kind of tighten up a little bit stuff, like if we can get rid of the politics, the favoritism, if we can go ahead and let the ego go and pay Dak and just say the man deserves to be paid more than Goff and Wentz. Let's stop this back and forth. Let's just get it done. Let's get it behind him so he can focus.
And he'll start running again. Because I believe
he'll start running. Why would he run, West Coast? If he take one hit across his knee, he lose a lottery ticket.
And that's when quarterbacks get hurt. And that's when, think about this. That's when freaking Carson Wentz got hurt. Carson Wentz got hurt running and trying to dive in the end zone. And that's when he got hurt.
So, look, we keeping it real on this show. Like, it's a whole lot of people that will be talking about Green Bay and talking about Aaron Rodgers and BS. We trying to get to the nitty-gritty that's going to help us get to 6. Yeah. Everything that we focused on in this show is what are the potential pitfalls that's in our way to 6. Yes, we got a lot of good. We could spend a whole lot of time talking about the good, but we spend a lot of time talking about the 20%. That's what West Coast and I started talking about a long time ago. Is we go cover the 20%, that's the pitfalls to the 80%. And if we can get solutions and put solutions out there to help make that 20% 5%, then that helps our chances for 6.
Absolutely.
So paying Dak is one of those 20% things that's taking way too damn long. It's taking way too long. And at this point, it is a distraction. And at this point, we creating our own dysfunction, and we're expecting them to be tough-minded through the dysfunction we created.
Which is not a good premise, too, because everybody is not going to respond the same way. Like, that's just real. Like, some people, like being a district manager, I've had some managers who I could get them all fired up and they be good. And I had some managers where I had to talk very softly. Why? Because if I got on them, they'd do damn near, they had to go home. They was emotionally distraught. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand, it's a good thing they do understand the pulse of their team, because if they didn't, man, we'd be taking some huge risks, man. But, man, we're going to have ourselves a great show in the morning. So make sure that you guys tune in tomorrow morning. And if you're in Dallas, that's 12 p.m. Central Time. If you're on the West Coast, it's 10 a.m. Pacific Time. I will not be traveling. I won't be traveling this week. The Cowboys will take on the Jets. I'll be watching it from the house. So if you guys want to watch my live watch along, I'll have that going. But I will be at the very next home game, the home game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll be ready to rock this thing out. Boss Cowboy, man, let them know where they can find you at, man.
Yeah, my boy Ephraim said, so we waiting for y'all to relay all this to the front office. We actually waiting on you, because your voice matter too. We waiting on you to put out some information, because that's what this is about. It's about us having this conversation that we can help go viral. You can start by going to my page and sharing it with somebody. You could also go to groups and start talking about it. You could also go to some groups that some influential Cowboy people are, and start putting the word out there. Look, I want to do something, because doing nothing does nothing. You know what I mean? So it first starts with the talk. Then second is the action, right? Yeah. So let's just put some action behind it. If it does nothing, it does nothing. But I believe my voice matter, or I wouldn't be doing this. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you can find me at Boss Cowboy Sports on my Facebook page. And you can definitely go to my Twitter handle, where you can see all my articles and stuff. And that's going to be backwards, where it's at Cowboy_boss. and definitely check it out. And if you see an article, because I'm going to write about the defensive tackle, I'm going to put out a whole lot of information out there. I'm going to call it a crisis need. That's going to more than likely be the name of it, that Dallas still has a crisis need, and put it out there. So what you can do, you know, is take that article and put it out there, spread it out there. Matter of fact, tag Jerry, tag Steve and shit, tag Will McClay. Like, let's be people of action. Like, you know, that, I mean, in today's world, you can reach people with literally tagging them. Like West Coast said this is no BS. I kicked it with West Coast, Alumba, Owuze, all them boys. I kicked it with them, right? I saw Alumba take his hat off and say, West Coast, I saw your show. I appreciate it. Now, West Coast didn't know that was going to happen. He just did a show. He just spoke his mind. But him speaking his mind ran into an influential Cowboy. He was like, bruh, I saw it. I heard every word. I was talking to Jordan Lewis. I put out some film, and this is true. This is true. West Coast was sitting there right there with me. I say, man, I'm rocking for you, bro. I'm literally lobbying to get you on the field. Yeah. We want you on the field to help us get 6. Lewis looked me dead in my face, didn't he, West Coast, and say, yeah, I saw it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So now, so the thing that you don't want to, this is the thing we don't want any one of y'all to believe, is that y'all voice don't matter. If you believe your voice don't matter, it won't. But if you believe your voice matter, say something, tag somebody, push it out there. This is the social media world. You don't have to bump into people no more. You don't have to go knock on doors and call people. You can do different things to put the word out there on what you believe, damn it.
Yep, and the more people that follow you, the stronger that voice gets, and that's why we just try to make sure that we do a lot of shows. Because if you do a lot of shows, you stay in tune with your audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys always know where we're at on pretty much every subject that comes to Dallas Cowboys. Why? Because I think we do a pretty good job of doing at least 2 shows almost every day. Almost. I think the only time we don't do really shows is like Saturdays. But then when I go on the road, I do shows every day. Like, this is what it is. And to be honest with you, you know, a lot of times we just be, you know, we prepare a lot of this stuff, be prepared content. Like, this was a prepared content show. We actually, you know, came up with these ideas, talked about the ideas, formulated it. But a lot of stuff, honestly, you know, it just be like, oh, this is our conversation piece. Let's get on here and let's bless this nation, man. And then you guys reciprocate that with your comments. So, man, like, you guys control this show because the stuff that you guys are talking about, like, it's funny. Like, I went into my scat group because I was looking for some subjects to kind of talk about because I didn't want to just keep beating on Green Bay because it's time to move on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, so I got the trade for DT from y'all, man. Just like my video about Jalen Smith and LVE, I had 5 inboxes asking me pretty much the same question. Like, yeah, I should do it. That's why I started the video off like, yo, I do a video. Why? Because that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? It's easier for me to put a video out than to just, you know, explain all this in text message or, you know, inbox. So, I mean, I appreciate you guys for rocking with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And man, yeah, we gonna have this thing. We gonna rock this week. We gonna rock this week from the house and get this thing popping. And guess what? We gonna be back on the road, man. That's why they call your boy West Coast, the most traveled Dallas Cowboy blogger out there, man. And we get this thing popping. One thing I also know about it is, man, these players see you enough at enough events, they'll start respecting the fact when you asking them for questions and different things like that because they know you're a human. Like, I know you are human too. Like, I'm up on Jalen Smith. I'm like, dang, I'm going to have to bring you some of that bump stopper for right there. I didn't mean to say that, but I'm just saying I was thinking about that. I'm so close to the man. I'm like, I got some bump stopper. You roll right there to get all them bumps. I'm just like, damn, this dude got $60 million and he got problems I had. You know what I'm saying? Like, $2.99 bump stopper. You rub it right there. It's called Magic Bump Stopper, and they get all that. Like, that's a, bruh. For the black man, that's good. That's butter. That's our butter, baby.
Oh, man. Bump stopper to a black man.
That's our butter, baby.
Oh, boy.
Hey, when I was in the military, I had a shaving waiver, man, because I used to bump up. Man, every time my Sergeant Greenville see me, he'd look at me, damn Jamerson, with your damn shaving waiver. I always used to say that.
Hey, and Jay said, well, we go talk about how to exploit them Giants. We always do that tomorrow.
How to do what?
We'll talk about how to exploit them, I said Giants. Jets.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll start talking about that.
Yeah, we talk about that. You know, we recap, talk about solutions, and then we start talking about how to beat the opponent.
Yeah, that's why we did the injury report. That's why we did the injury report, because the injury report was all based on what was going to be happening in this Green Bay game. You know what I'm talking about?
Jets. And yeah, I got their name mixed up too, man. Nobody care about no funky Jets. And it's look, man. I'm gonna tell y'all something too. Hit that support button, man. Put some money behind what y'all seeing. I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's some work. Like, I don't want to scout the Jets. You know what I mean? It's certain teams you know. It's certain teams you don't know, and you got to research. But if we go talk intelligent, then we go do the research. So that take time. That sometimes take away from different business ventures that West Coast has, that I have. And you want to put a couple of dollars, just to say, man, we appreciate it. We support you. We love the independent voices that you guys have. And because we're gonna put a couple of dollars to it, and we talking about a couple of dollars. We ain't talking about now. If you want to, pay us a tithe, that's cool too.
Crazy, but hey, man,
at the same time, like, I just wanted to put that out there because we never really even solicit like that. But I just want to just put it out there and be frank and just upfront, man, that it is work. It's like we looking up players, injury reports. We're doing a lot of kind of stuff. We don't get checks for this. We do this out of love for trying to get 6. You know what I mean? So.
Yep. And then when we get 6, it's going to be out of the love of getting 7. Because I'm greedy. You know what I'm saying? Why can't we have Taco and Quinn? What? Tell me, explain that to me. I'm greedy. Why can't we have both? Instead of having 3, we'd have 5 sacks then. Right. What the hell you mean? 5 is better than 3, right? Okay then. Hey, but you already know what it is, man. I am your favorite Cowboy cousin, man. You already know what it is. Never look down because the stars up. Peace.